The U.S. military has shot down another unidentified flying object, this time over Lake Huron. According to U.S. defense officials, the object was flying at approximately 20,000 feet and posed a threat to commercial aircraft in the area. The Pentagon says it believes it was the same object first detected Saturday over Montana, which flew close to sensitive military installations. The U.S. military is now working to recover debris from the object. Meanwhile, China is accusing the U.S. of flying high-altitude balloons through its airspace without permission. China's foreign ministry claims U.S. balloons have illegally entered its airspace more than 10 times. It offered no evidence or details. Beijing claims the balloons shot down over the U.S. earlier this month was an unmanned airship designed for weather research. It says Washington overreacted by downing it and is calling on the U.S. to reflect on itself and change course. CTV's Mike LeCouture joins us live from Ottawa with more on this developing story, the latest object being shot down. Mike, can you talk about where exactly the search parameter is? It was shot down over Lake Huron, but now they're trying to recover some debris from the object.
Yeah, so that one continues, as well as the one in Yukon that was shot down over the weekend. That one of particular interest to Canadian officials, as they are basically taking charge of that one, Jennifer. So that one is about 160 kilometers away from the border with Alaska. And because of the rugged terrain, it is becoming increasingly difficult to try and make sure that they are finding the debris field and making sure that they are actually getting to it. From what we understand, American officials are teaming up with RCMP and the Canadian military to try and get a visual on it. That one different from that first one that was shot down off the coast of North Carolina, because we are hearing that's a lot smaller, also cylindrical in shape, but also hearing that they're changing now how they're referring to it. They're not calling it a balloon, they're calling it a flying object. So it's unclear exactly what that means, but certainly we got an update yesterday from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who was speaking about how it was spotted and how that conversation sort of evolved in terms of making sure that they were in communications with NORAD. So both Canadian and American officials and fighter jets were scrambled to meet it and then to shoot it down eventually. They felt that it was in a safe area because it was not near any kind of heavily densely populated area, but at the same time they were concerned that it would pose a risk to Canadians at some point. It was flying at an altitude that could have been a danger to commercial aviation as well, or into other sort of flight paths. So that is why they decided to do it. And the Prime Minister promising, in any case, that he will continue to update Canadians on the status of it. And we expect to hear from him a little later today, and certainly there will be questions as to, one, what is going on with the search, but two, what other objects are possibly flying over Canada and what kind of intelligence we have on those.
Yeah, it must be very disconcerting to people watching this. You know, when you hear the word unidentified flying object, you think UFO. Is this aliens? But I'm sure we're not going to get too spacely about this. So, Mike, what has been the chatter like in the security community about what this object could possibly be? Is it tied to the military? Is it another kind of version of a spy balloon? And how much of a risk does it pose to Canadians?
Yeah, unclear on all of those questions, especially as to what the object is, knowing that it is not the size of the one that was shot down just off the coast of North Carolina. That one was described as being the size of roughly 3 buses. This one is being described as like the size of a car. So not to say that that isn't small, or that that isn't large, I should say, but certainly the chatter that we are hearing anyways, former head of the Canada Spy Agency, CSIS, Dick Fadden, was on question period yesterday here on CTV with Vashi Kapelos, and saying that certainly when he had heard of these multiple balloons and hearing that there are more and more of them, he is a little more concerned about the overall security level, because certainly that this is a much more bold move by whatever state actor or other actors that are trying to fly these objects into Canadian and North American airspace, and certainly concerned about what the geopolitical ramifications ramifications will be. Because if this is China, if this is another sort of rift in the relationship between the United States and China, these two superpowers, not on the best of terms, their relationship is certainly not at the height of relations at this point. We know that after that Chinese spy balloon was shot down off the coast of North Carolina, that is when Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State in the United States, canceled a planned visit to China. So really, it's not just the balloons, it's not just the flying objects, it is also the geopolitical ramifications that will follow in the days to come.
Yeah, definitely other factors at play here. CTV's Mike LeCouture, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.